This podcast is brought to you by Elite Level Status Wines. My wine journey started with drinking cheap grocery store wines that were really acidic and gave me headaches. Then I switched to quote-unquote luxury, but overpriced, full-bodied wines that were really heavy and had a bad aftertaste. The inability to find the perfect wine led to the creation of Elite Level Status Wines. Elite Level Status Wines are approachable, medium-bodied wines with great flavor and minimal aftertaste. And with me being a health-conscious person, I wanted to create a wine that was lower in sugar and lower in calories than the full-bodied mass-produced wines that we always see. We currently have two wines. First is our Cabernet. It has notes of blackberry, cinnamon, plum, nutmeg, and French vanilla. Then we also have our rosé wine. Our rosé is going to be a flat, dry, pink rosé with subtle strawberry and raspberry flavors. Both wines are medium-bodied wines with less sugar and less calories, and they're both available on my website, elsfinewine.com. Check them out, and I hope you love them. The Elite Level Status Podcast is a motivational podcast designed to help aspirational people become elite. Today's guest is definitely elite. She's the owner of Lammy's Bakehouse. They make some of the best baked goods you're ever going to have. She's also doing a masterful job of marketing her brands. I think she has a lot of success coming to her. The owner of Lammy's Bakehouse, Lamiya Lee. How are you?
Hi, I'm doing so good.
Thank you so much for coming on. And thank you for supporting the brand.
Of course,
and
I
wearing
have
your
to.
Elite Level Status shirt. How do you like the fit and how do you like the material?
Okay, I love it. It's like so buttery. It's soft. It's almost like Lulu and Viore like had a baby. So I love the material.
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
That's exactly what we're trying to go for.
Good.
Like, I definitely think the material definitely makes it unique and different. So I'm glad you like it.
I love it. Thank you for having me here,
Oh,
by
yeah.
the way.
So we have a lot to get to. We're going to talk about your business, but I first want to start with your background. Can you share your upbringing? Where and how did you grow up? And what led to your passion for baking?
Yes. So I grew up in Dallas, Texas. I moved out to Vegas like in 2009. I have 3 wonderful sisters.
Yes.
You know, most of the time I don't want to kill them. You know, like 2 of them.
Yeah.
And we grew up in Texas. We grew up like, I guess like in like we were always outdoors. So, and we were either outdoors with friends and family, in the kitchen, cooking with my mom, baking with my mom. So it's kind of where that passion came from. Like we were always in the kitchen with her, like wanting to help in like any way we could. So the baking and like my love for food definitely started there.
Okay. So it started with your mom in the kitchen. What happened to motivate you to take that like from a hobby and something you're passionate about into actually turning it into a business?
So it was during COVID times. So when everything like closed down, I got my degree in business, but then I got offered to work at a nightclub. So it kind of like shifted and I did that for a couple of years and then everything shut down. And I was like, what? Like, what is my passion? Like, what do I like doing? So that's where the personal training came in. I started personal training a little bit. And then the baking came to life. Like I was always baking like something sweet and taking it to a party or a get together or just like at the house. And that made me happy. Like anytime I was baking, I was like in this kind of flow, the same kind of flow I get when I'm running or in the gym lifting. And to me, I was like, okay, that means something.
Yeah. So I think what you're doing is genius for a couple of reasons. So the first one is with what you make with baking and the cookies and all the baked goods, your potential customer base is like everyone from like 5-year-old kids to 95-year-old grandmas. And people don't need a lot of like incentive to want to have a cookie.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like when you start marketing and when you put your brand in front of people, it's like you have a head start, you know? And so I think that your potential is limitless with what you're doing. So I definitely think you're on the right track.
I appreciate that.
Your brand exudes nostalgia and warmth. So how did you develop that sort of like unique brand identity? Like where does that come from?
I think a lot of the warmth comes from my upbringing and like from my mom. She was just very just like, if you come to the house, like there's always food, there's always something for you to eat or drink. And so I think that's kind of translated naturally into like when I'm baking things and I'm selling them, it's just like, I don't know, it just comes like when I'm baking for my heart. Like I'm baking with love and like a lot of passion because I love what I'm doing. I think that has something to do with it too. And the nostalgia is a big one because I feel like a lot of the flavors I've sat down with like my sisters or close friends and we kind of play off of like things we loved when we were little and then like kind of bring like a modern twist to it. So
okay, let's dive into this a little more because your cookies definitely taste homemade. They definitely taste like you took your time, went ingredient by ingredient, and whoever eats that cookie, it's like you wanted to make sure they enjoyed that.
Oh, my heart. Good.
Like that's definitely the vibe that we get. And the creativity that you show and like how you name the cookies.
Mm-hmm.
Like you have some that have like Captain Crunch in it and like the Wagyu chocolate chip that I tried. So talk me through that. Like, is it all based on just what you loved when you were younger? Because I feel like you create intrigue with how you name your products. There's been so many times where I've been like looking at the menu. I'm like, okay, well, what is it? How do you put Wagyu in a cookie? Now I'm curious. Now I want to try it. Is that by design? Because I definitely think that it adds to like the overall marketing that you're doing. So kind of walk me through that.
Yeah, for sure. So I feel like I'm a huge foodie. I love to eat. I also have like the biggest sweet tooth. So that Wagyu inspiration was from a restaurant in San Francisco when I was out there a couple years ago. It was like a steakhouse or it's like, based around like Wagyu.
Yeah.
And they had so much leftover like Wagyu, like fat, they decided to make a chocolate chip cookie out of it. And it was the best chocolate chip cookie.
Yeah,
it was just so fatty and rich. So I wanted to recreate that here. And so I was messing with the recipe and I got it down and it's on the menu for good now. And the other flavors, like the Captain Crunch one, that just reminded me of like our childhood of like eating the Captain Crunch until like, did you ever feel like it would like almost like the roof of your mouth would become like raw almost? Yeah, because you eat so much Captain Crunch.
Yeah.
And then it's like at the end, the milk was like the best flavor. So that's the inspiration from that cookie.
I feel like there's so many ways you could go. Like using the Captain Crunch example, like you could go out to like all the parents out there. What's your kid's favorite cereal? Is it Captain Crunch? Okay, well then you guys need to give them this cookie.
Yeah.
And you give yourself so much opportunity with just with that, with the creativity and the name. So that's definitely something I've noticed from your brand. I think it's smart. You could just call it, give it a basic name, but just to have the creativity and the mindset to let's put Wagyu in a cookie and let's just see. And I mean, it worked on me. Like I was definitely like, okay, now I need to try this. So yeah, I definitely like that. So let's talk more about your marketing. So your marketing strategy is very, very engaging. You do a great job of mixing like social media with in-person events. Talk me through that strategy and how you use both of those social media and in-person events to get attention and get more brand recognition for Lammy's Bakehouse.
Of course. I feel like when I first started Lammy's, I was so nervous to do anything in person. I was like scared because I was like, what if people don't like it? And it was just very new to me to do that. And then I started to see like the community in Las Vegas and how everyone is very supportive and like locals really do support local businesses. Yeah. And it gave me like this whole sense of like comfort. And the social media, I'm so grateful for social media because we can reach so many people that way. So they just kind of went hand in hand and it kind of just like was like a snowball effect.
So were you met with like a lot of skepticism when you told your friends and family that you were going to start this business?
Yes.
And so what was your reaction to that? Because I feel like most people would say, you went to school, you have a personal training background. Why cookies?
Yeah, I have such a like sweet side. The sweet tooth is just like unreal. And in the end, if it didn't work out or if it just like completely flopped, like we live in Vegas and like I had things to fall back on, but I wanted to at least try it. And if it worked, great. And if it didn't work, then it's okay. You just pivot or, do something else. Right. That was kind of my thought process.
Right. No, I like it. Definitely, I respect it. And I think that, as you start a company, it can be very sometimes frustrating. It can be overwhelming. It can feel like nothing is good enough. And so sometimes you just need people to come in and tell you that like, I see you, you're doing great and keep going. Just those simple words, right?
Absolutely.
Somebody that you respect to come in and say, hey, I noticed what you're doing over there. Keep moving forward, right? And so, especially someone like me that understands the struggle and just everything that comes with starting your own brand, I think that, especially like for someone like you, I definitely want you to understand that you are doing a very, very good job.
Thank you.
A very good
That means
good
a
job.
lot to me.
Yeah, for sure. And just keep moving forward like you are.
Mhm.
And yeah, I definitely see a lot of success coming to you. So let's stay on the marketing.
Yeah.
So you intertwine your personal brands and your business brands very, very well. And so walk me through, like, was that intentional?
So in the beginning, no, it was not intentional.
Okay.
It was just who I was. And then it became, it's almost like I became like the brand of Lammy's. I guess essentially I am the brand of Lammy's.
Yeah, which is smart.
Yeah. And then it just kind of like happened. I think just from being like myself and just being, I think the biggest thing for me and like a mantra that I live by is just be yourself, like truly be unapologetically you and be genuine. And I feel like people can feel that, you know, if you're intentional and like, you know what you like, how, you know what you want, you know where you're going, or at least you have like an idea of it. And you just move like with grace and like with good intention, I feel like things kind of usually fall into place and align for you.
Yeah, I like it. And I think it's important for you because when you combine both of your brands, you're kind of like showing that you can eat a cookie and still be in great shape. So first of all, walk me through like kind of your fitness background and then walk me through like the balanced lifestyle that I feel like you can promote, because I feel everyone wants to have a cookie, but then we need someone like you to show us that you can kind of do both. You can be balanced. You can eat your cookies, but you also got to work out over here too. So walk me through that.
Yeah, of course. I feel like life is just a constant balance of things,
Yes.
right? Or maybe like a struggle of balancing it in a good way. So I personal trained for a couple of years. Like being active in fitness has always been a big part of my life. I feel like I'm a better person with that in my life. And it's just part of my routine. So it's just who I am at this point. Before it was like, oh, I need to go to the gym. And it's like now like the gym that's just my schedule kind of thing.
Oh, you said something right there. You feel like you're a better person when you work out.
Yes.
Okay, can we go a little deeper? That's interesting. And I think I agree with that. But like, what exactly does that mean?
So to me, that means that when I have structure, when I am like moving my body, it does something to like my mind and it does something to my soul. I don't want to be like too deep here, but like it is like healing in a way. So for me to be able to go run a couple of miles or go to the gym, after every run or lift or whatever you want to call it, I feel better and I have a clearer mind. And in your mind, just like your mind goes to places when you're moving physically. So
that is a great point. And I definitely identify with that. Do you also feel that when you're in shape and you're working out, that kind of bleeds over into business from the standpoint of when you're working out, you're going to get tired. It's going to get hard. You're going to want to stop and take a break, but you don't.
Yeah.
You keep fighting through because you know that's what it takes to get you where you want to go. Same thing in business.
Amen.
It's going to get frustrated. It's going to get hard. You're going to want to stop, take a break, but you don't. So I think that it definitely builds good habits. And, you know, some things, how you do one thing sometimes is how you do like multiple other things.
So true. Yes.
So it's a great point that you make. I hadn't really considered that. But yeah, you do have that sense of pride when you work out, and it builds confidence. You know, the better shape you get in, the better you look. That builds inner confidence. And with that, you can go out and take on other ventures, like starting a business.
Exactly.
So it all kind of ties together.
A lot of discipline too, I feel like came from that. So like on those nights, like when you're working hard and you're like, I'm just like so over this or whatever it is, like you have that like resilience to be like, no, like, you know, you just like, you give yourself that time and grace to be like, good things take time. It's like a process. You don't just like wake up one day and have abs. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like, it's just like it's a forever thing.
Absolutely. And you don't just wake up one day and have a successful business too. So they definitely go together. And I think that's important for people to hear, that, you know, the better person you are, the more pride you take in yourself, that can lead into other things. And so if you take care of yourself, you'll be able to attain success in other areas if you have that self-discipline first.
100%.
So, okay. So with Lammy's Bakehouse, what strategy are you using to ensure that there's a balance between like expanding your business, but also quality of life? A
Mhm.
lot of people get too caught up in their business and they work all the time. They have no social life. They lose track of their friends and their families,
Mhm.
which you don't want, but you do have to put forth a certain level of dedication to your business. So how do you see like scale and balancing your personal life, and what strategies do you use to
Yeah,
do
so
that?
I was just having this conversation with one of my girlfriends. I last year was the first year of me doing Lammy's full time, and it was a learning curve, and it still is. But I was doing the farmers markets like during
Yep,
summertime,
I
and I
remember
was
that.
yes, and I was doing like 3 to 4 a week. That absolutely it burned me out. And so this year I was like, okay, I'm gonna work smarter and not
Mhm.
harder. I have no problem working hard, but
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
just it's a different, yeah. So the markets I will pick back up like end of August, beginning of September.
Mm.
And then I'm focusing more on like corporate offices, on catering, and then like online sales. I'm really pushing that. So
So, so let me ask you this: have you considered like outsourcing the making of the cookies at all, so that you can do more, like what you said, like
mhm,
doing in-person events, and for you, like content, maybe like a cookbook, a cooking show,
mhm,
something like that. And then you can mix like, you're working out and maybe like showing your workout routine, and then content showing how you make, a Wagyu chocolate chip cookie.
mhm.
Because I feel like as you grow, do you want to be in the like? What if you have 1,000 orders coming? You don't want to be in the kitchen making all those. You want to be able to bake on your terms, right?
Exactly.
So, how do you think about outsourcing the things that you don't want to do yourself, so that you can focus on the things and the parts of the business that you're best at?
Mhm. Yeah. So I have my sisters have helped me scoop cookie dough,
Mhm.
right? So the scooping and the baking, that obviously is like the manual labor of that part. I don't know how I feel yet about like outsourcing someone making the dough and scooping it.
Mm,
Maybe like if I hire like 1 to 2 people to help me scoop dough and me be
mm.
there. I still very much want to be involved because I feel
Yeah,
like it's my baby, and
yeah.
I want to make sure. I feel like if one person has a bad experience eating a cookie, I wouldn't want that to taint their whole like Lammy's
Uh,
experience. So I
uh.
want to just, I don't know, be there to.
Yeah. Yeah, you have to, if you're gonna do that, you have to be able to take like a recipe and like give it to someone else and make sure that how they do it is exactly how you would do it.
Mhm.
But I think if you were able to find a way to do that, this could be
I know.
gigantic. I I mean, I just see it like with the content, with the product. There's people out there like Rachel Ray or whatever, right? Like people who cook and are also like on TV. And I'm sure like she's worth probably 10, $15 million
Mhm.
from being in front of people in multiple different ways, right? And now I'm curious, like what is Rachel Ray's net worth?
Yeah, let's see. I like
So
her.
like 10, 15 million. And I feel like that could be you, Rachel Ray, net worth. 100 million.
Love it.
That could be you. That's going to be you. That's definitely going to be you. Because I feel like you have to be able to have a great product.
Mhm.
You have to be able to outsource it, but then you have to be able to have the content and be relatable. And I
I
feel
think
like
that's a
you
big
could
one.
you could definitely do all that if that's the path you want to go down. Right now, there's a lot of stops between 100 million and a startup, right?
Mhm.
But I definitely think that potential is there, but it has to be done in a way to where you don't overwhelm yourself, right?
For sure. I feel like the quality of life definitely, trumps anything. Because
Yeah,
that's like priceless.
yeah,
But no, that's 100% a goal of mine. And to be able to attain that would be amazing.
yeah. And it'll take time, but I think that as you continue to move forward in your journey and your brand grows, I think more and more people are going to be intrigued and want to, whether it's whether it's a cooking show or however you want to do a cookbook or
Mhm.
whatever, but there's a lot of different ways to go about it. And I think that you do a good job of creating an intrigue with the cookies. And I think people would definitely be into, whether it's a show, a cookbook, whatever route you decide to go down. What advice would you offer to aspiring entrepreneurs?
Yeah, this is a good question. I think the first thing that pops in my mind is to be authentic, to be genuine, and to find something that really like sets you on fire, something that you feel like it just sparks your like light inside.
Yeah.
I feel like you 100% need to be passionate about something, because when things do get tough, like we were saying, if you're not passionate about it, you're going to give up because you just don't care. But if you truly love it, you're going to be like, no, you're going to just find a way to keep going, whatever that is.
Yeah. Do you believe that you have to, like, it's important to be passionate about, whatever it is you're doing, but I feel like there's a difference between like finding something that you're passionate about and then understanding your why, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because some people, like, they may not be passionate about a certain job, but if it makes them a lot of money and they can take care of their family, then that's kind of their why.
Mm-hmm.
And so that'll give you kind of the same motivation in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
But, it'll still allow you to be successful, right? So when it comes to passion and when it comes to like motivation, do you tend to find your motivation more from like people doubting you? Like we talked earlier, like there was a little skepticism when you said, hey, I'm going to start a company with like baked goods. So when people tell you, I don't think that's going to work, do you find more motivation in that? Or do you find more motivation in the people that do believe in you and wanting to prove them right?
I definitely find more motivation in that, and like them like believing in me and me wanting to, prove them right.
Yeah.
I also I think where a lot of my motivation comes from is if I can bring together a group of people, or if someone's getting off work and they want a sweet treat and I can bring them happiness for that 30 seconds or the minute, whatever it is that they're eating that baked good, whether it's a Pop-Tart or a cookie, then I'm happy, I'm fulfilled, because if I can bring someone happiness that way, I just feel like that's what life is about. Like it's about being happy and bringing people together. And if I can do that, then that's it.
Absolutely. I definitely agree. Any upcoming projects or expansions that you would like to share?
Yeah, so I'm very excited. How you mentioned like when I merge like fitness with like my sweet tooth, I love to eat healthy as well. So like if there's like a healthy dupe of something, I'm all about it. But I also have no problem eating a cookie or a piece of cake. So I am coming out with a protein cookie. It is going to be.
Hold on, wait, what?
Yeah, it's yes, it's amazing.
Is it going to taste like the regular ones?
It honestly, yes. And that like took me the longest time to make it taste good and have the same kind of texture, not be like how like the Lenny and Larry cookies are just not it.
Disgusting.
Yes. Yeah. So this cookie is going to be gluten-free. It'll be dairy-free. It'll have protein, collagen, superfoods in it. And it's just so good.
Okay. So you're still going to sell the regular cookies too?
Yes.
So you're going to have the regular cookies and the protein cookies coming from the same place?
Yeah.
Is there another brand out there that does both?
I don't think
I've ever seen. I feel like you always either pick one or the other.
Yeah, but I like the idea of having like both, right? Because I feel like I'm both.
Yes. Yeah. And so I feel like now that is a great idea, because some people are going to come in and only want one or the other, but then a lot of people are going to want both, right? So I definitely think, that's going to take off. When is that going to be ready? I'm going to need some of those.
Honestly, the recipe is perfected. I'm so happy with it. I'm going to start just like pushing that, and I want to start popping up in different places, whether it's like Lulu or Viore or like a Soul Cycle, wherever. I want to pop up and do little tastings. Yeah, and I want to put it out there because it's like it actually tastes good. And that was like my biggest thing. It was so hard to put a product out like with low sugar, low carbs, and then not taste like cardboard. So is it going to be a situation where every cookie you make has like a protein version, or are the protein cookies going to be like different than your normal selection? It'll be like the same, like it'll be under Lammy's, but then there's going to be like a fit side and then just like a fat side, if you want to call it, because we all have that in us. And So yeah, whenever I'll have to bring you a box so you can try them.
Yeah, I definitely wanna try that. The protein cookie thing, I went through that phase, like the Lenny's and Larry's.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, well, what's the point? Like,
And then you look at the back and the macros are terrible. I'm like, I should just eat the real cookie. Like, what am I doing?
you took the words right out of my mouth. I might as well just eat what I actually want.
Yeah.
Because if it's still terrible and it doesn't taste as good as like an actual cookie, then what's the point? But I just don't think there was anyone else in the market that was like they were the best in the market, so they took off. But I think it's very smart to offer both. Don't just pick one. And so now your customer base, I mean, you're appealing to everyone. So your potential is limitless from that standpoint. I love it.
Thank you.
I'm definitely excited about that. Okay, so 2 important questions. If people want to buy cookies, where do they go?
So right now, Lammys.com, you can order. I ship nationwide.
Okay.
I also offer local pickup. And yeah, the farmers markets are on pause, so I'm not going to be popping up anywhere. When I do start pushing the protein cookie, I'll post out on social media at Lammy's Bakehouse.
Okay.
And you can find me like wherever I'm popping up.
Okay. All right, cool. Well, I love it. I think you definitely have a great product as a paying customer. I definitely love.
Thank you. You're always so supportive.
Everything that I've had, and I think these protein cookies are just going to add to it. So just keep moving forward. You're definitely on the right path, and I appreciate you coming on today.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, cool.